few observations. I was blessed through an introduction from a woman named Wendy, who's also from the Detroit area. She introduced me to a hip-hop artist who's actually a hip-hop journalist named B-Boy. Suatu and I went down to what was known as the only community radio station in Senegal, where he has a radio show. And we were able to meet this rap group and talk with them. Because they had a power outage, we weren't actually able to go on the air. But they had one of the many power outages, so we just really sat and talked for about an hour or so, sitting and talking with each other. And one of the topics that came up, which is a topic that's been on my mind a lot since I've been back, was they were very familiar with the rap and the hip-hop that comes from the United States. They knew about as many artists as I knew, maybe even more. And I noticed a lot of the hip-hop cats spoke the best English, even better than many of the other people. People spoke good English, better than my French. But the hip-hop cats spoke pretty good. Sounded like he had been living in the United States or something. That comes from the hip-hop. And so he was familiar with these things. And so I was asking him, you know, so you're listening to all this music. Many of the music nowadays has these violent themes, has these themes which are degrading to women. Is that big in Senegalese music? Do you find that you're listening to the stuff, but does it carry over? And then he said, no. He said that stuff wouldn't sell in Senegal. He said there were one or two artists that tried it, one or two artists that started talking about how they were dealing drugs, one or two artists that started talking about women in those kind of ways, and nobody bought them. That conversation really kind of blew my mind and really just got me thinking about the young culture, the media culture, like where our culture is today, and how did it get to that point when these messages, these self-degrading messages, are not only out there, but not only are they the best sellers, but for many people, that's the way that the only way people feel that they can have a music career. So that conversation and the fact that they had been exposed to all these things, but they were able to have enough cultural traditions and enough community to say that, well, that's not what our music is going to be based on. That was really, that conversation really affected me. And I still kind of talk to people as like one of the highlights, you know, of my trip. The other thing that I have to mention, and this would be the end of my comments, is just, I think that y'all should really just be proud of how Lizzie mentioned it, other people mentioned it, just how Detroit represented on a world scene. I was very proud the way our group moved, the way our group was, and there was a certain attitude and a certain vibe. Whether it was in Dakar or in World Social Forum, you could just feel that there was a certain Detroit spirit. We stayed at a hotel in Yoff. There are a couple of pictures there from the hotel, which is a suburb about 10-15 minutes outside of Dakar, in which it had like a living room and then some common rooms going around, and we had rented out 2 floors. And we had the opportunity to stay into a downtown hotel, which were very fancy. And they didn't have power outages, and they had internet and water, all of these things. But talking to our group, as our group got to see what the different options were, throughout the whole group, there was just a desire, and you can hear it in people's remarks, a desire to stay closer to people, closer to neighborhoods, closer to really be able to interact with people, and not only in the locations where the tourists were going. And so I'm very proud of a lot of these attitudes that collectively as Detroiters we had. Furthermore, like with the U.S., with the World Social Forum and with these different experiences, you'll hear from everybody. Our delegation wanted to meet with people, wanted to not just go to the social forum and interact with the social forum, with the French and the Brazilians and the whatever, but they wanted to look and see what was happening and why was that happening. So when the people from Dakar said we didn't feel like we were a part of this, folks from our delegation said, we need to go and sit with these folks from Dakar and find out what's really happening. So I think that attitude, I just wanted to just be explicit about it. I'm very proud to have gone on this trip because that grassroots attitude was very strong with everybody that was with our trip, who really wanted to meet the different people from Dakar, whether they were part of the social forum or not. Just that attitude of really building on a very real level. Now we got Facebook friends and emails and people trying to Skype and all these different things. There's a school that Lizzie and Amina were able to make partnerships with, and we hope that with EMEAC we can develop, they have environmental programs at their school, and so we would like to continue a relationship with that school, which is a bilingual school. So that's just one example. Very proud, very happy of our group and what it means to be political, because in the last thing, in the World Social Forum space, you had a lot of meetings, you had a lot of NGOs, you had a lot of people who were very important, or they thought they were very important, or maybe they were very important, or a combination of both. You know, but the way that folks wanted to move was really about being with the people. And I think that even if the World Social Forum was not always about that, I think a lot of folks in our group was, and so I was very happy to be with them.